Hey there, theologians and Camaros drinking coffee. One of these days I'm going to have another theologian, so it will be truthful that there are multiple theologians. Right now it's just me and Ollie, and Ollie is a theologian among the dogs. He has quite the reputation, but he has yet to be able to express himself to us. So I have been reading your comments and reading about the ideas that you have for questions for me to answer. And one of those was about the Ten Commandments and are we still under the Ten Commandments? That got a lot of discussion, so I thought maybe I would discuss that right now. Are we still under the Ten Commandments? Now, the quick answer is no, we're not under the Ten Commandments. But the what that implies for a lot of people is something very difficult, maybe confusing. You got to understand, being under the law in the biblical sense is to have the law as your taskmaster. It is the one that guides you, that directs you. It is in the Old Testament, it served as the way in which the believers had a relationship with God. It was the washing of their feet. So they had to follow the law in that sense. There was much more than just the Ten Commandments. It was not only the what some people call the moral code, but also the ceremonial code and the entirety of all the commandments that are given in the Old Testament. That's the way they would approach God. They were always saved. They were always believers because of their faith. And Jesus' work on the cross is always the reason why they received forgiveness. Even in the Old Testament, they may not have known about Jesus, but their faith, because of their faith, God applied the work on the cross to them, even before what happened on the cross. So everybody's always saved by Jesus. And the relationship that you and I have now with God since Jesus, since what he did on the cross, is different in this sense. In Jeremiah chapter 31, it talks about God one day writing the law on our hearts. And the idea is right, at that point, it wasn't on their hearts, it was on the outside. And I believe the power of the Holy Spirit, the indwelling of the Holy Spirit comes upon us, and that's what writes the law in our hearts. It gives us a life with God, a relationship with God through the internal workings, the internal drive that we now have. And so whenever you say, are we under the Ten Commandments? No, we're not under the Ten Commandments, because to be under the Ten Commandments means to be under the law. But does that mean we don't follow the Ten Commandments? No, not at all. I mean, we have them written on our hearts. We're not under them. We have them written on our hearts. And of course we follow the Ten Commandments. Even what some people say, we don't follow the Sabbath. You know, that's the only one that's not repeated or repealed in the New Testament. Or it is repealed in the New Testament, but it's the only one that's not repeated. Well, that's not really true, because the principles of the Sabbath also apply to us. Of course, we need days of rest. Of course, we have times where we have reflection with God, and we should continue that. And all of society for the last, ever since society began, understands the need of the Sabbath for man. A Sabbath for man. And whenever we do that, whenever we don't work, whenever we rest, we refill ourselves, and we're able to use that day as a day of holiness. And what does that mean? Well, it's a day of reflection. It's a day of fellowship. It's a day that's devoted over to God and not over to the work that we have. So we are under the Ten Commandments in the sense, if you're asking the question, do we still follow them? But we're not under the Ten Commandments if the question is, are we still under the law as a rule, as a taskmaster for having our relationship with God? So hopefully that was helpful. I think the end is always the same. I think we all know that we're not supposed to kill, that we're not supposed to lie, that we're not supposed to commit adultery, that we are supposed to worship only God, and so on. I mean, that's written within us, and we have an inner compulsion from the Holy Spirit. So, helpful? Not sure, but that's the answer to the question. That is the answer. It's not a answer, it's the answer.